Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. We are back with another episode of Voice of Overseas Pakistani. The Voice of Overseas Pakistani has become the sound of the Pakistani community across the globe, and we are receiving a lot of positive comments and feedbacks on our program, and people are actually sending us questions, topics to be asked by our panelists and our extreme guests. Today we have a very interesting topic, that is the panoramic overview of democracy in Pakistan. Now, when we see the democracy in Australia, we saw in America, and we saw in United Kingdom, we see that democracy in these sophisticated and developed countries is extremely different from the democracy in Pakistan. What are the reasons? What are the issues with the democracy in Pakistan? What's the issue with politician, establishment, and the other stakeholders? This is what we are going to discuss in today's time. Today's show is more focused on an analysis with the name to bring some positive talk and a positive change in our beloved country, which require healing, strategy, and promotion in terms of a better country, where we need an upgrade from a developing country to a developed country. So, with this, please welcome our guest of today, live from Australia, Mr. Imran Ashraf, the economist and the esteemed guest for the show.
Thank you so much, Musa, and good evening and assalamu alaikum to all the viewers. Yes, it's been more than 2 weeks. We are having this new episode there. And
You're right, Imran. People are asking about our show with a regular pace, and they are not able to accept any break in this. This is very pleasing to hear, because they want a new thought, and they relate our conversation, especially the overseas, because they understand the better governance, and when they see to the country, they feel that there is something wrong. So, how is the weather in Sydney today?
yes, we are still in winter. It's a little bit cold, and it's a mixture of rain as well, but it's quite pleasant. I mean, put it this way, we still having temperatures of 10 to 12 degree at this time of the
Wow,
evening. Yeah, and
amazing.
especially at night, it drops down to the single digit as well.
Oh, wow, amazing. Actually, United Kingdom is also preparing to welcome the winter in a couple of days, because we are already feeling the coolness of the weather, which is the typical British weather. And
Mm.
the people who are listening us outside our countries, they are very excited, because still in some part of the world we are still in 30s, 36, 37, and the weather is a bit humid. So, and I'm also very excited to visit Sydney and the rest of the Australia for our upcoming World Cup.
Yeah.
So, who's your favorite team for this coming World Cup?
Look, being in overseas Pakistanis, we would love to see Pakistan perform good. I think that all depends upon a lot of miracles these days. But
Mm,
apart from the fact, obviously, after Pakistan, I'm going to support the Australian cricket team, obviously.
that's amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. And obviously, I'm going to support first the Pakistan, and then the English team is always
That's
the
right.
best. So it will be a typical heated game between Australia and England. That is
Oh,
the
yes.
typical Ashes, and the old competitions. They'll go up. That's amazing. So I'm going to bombard with the questions now. People have a lot of questions, so I summarize into 4 questions. My question number one is that why the democracy in Pakistan hasn't flourished, like if you see the democracy in neighborhood or the countries who were born or formed around 1947? So this is a question that overseas Pakistanis are very much eager to ask. So I need you to respond on that.
Thank you, Musa. Thank you so much. That is a very core question when we talk about democracy in Pakistan, and why, and come to the point that why it hasn't been flourished like many other similar age democracies in the region. I would like to give a brief outlook. What democracy stands for, basically, a system of choosing and replacing the government through the free and fair elections, active participation of the people, citizens, and the society members in politics and civic life. And the other important thing is the protection of human rights in the society. And the fourth and the very important element in democracy is the rule of law. So, if we typically have a look toward that question, I think since independence 1947, Pakistan has a lot of history of authoritarian rule, and where the natural democracy hasn't been came into existence in real sense. That was because of the lack of rule of law, or supremacy of the bureaucracy and the administrative powers in Pakistan, and also the caliber and capacity of the political leadership, I would say, as well. Because if we look toward the background of political leaderships in Pakistan, the Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah and its struggle for the freedom of Pakistan from the British rule was truly with the essence that we need an independent democratic state where the Muslims of India can practice their life uh, as per the religion and freedom. After coming into existence of Pakistan, the basic irony is this: most of the political leaderships which Pakistan has inherited after its existence were from the pockets of feudal lords, industrialists, and investment regime peoples. Those are the group of politicians which actually hasn't played any positive role for the development or for the strengthening of democracy in Pakistan. And when we talk about specifically on that question, why it hasn't flourished, I probably would say, out of the 75 years independence of Pakistan, if we have a technical look, the democracy and the proper democratic government in Pakistan came into its existence in 1973 elections, and then it was from 1973 to 1979, and then the second period came from 1988 to 1999, which was for another 12 years. The first one for 6 years, and then after 2007, from the authoritarian transition to the political system up till now, which is another coming to 15 years. That was the first time in the history of Pakistan after its independence, more than 50 years, back in 2013, when a politically elected government was inherited the power from the a previous politically elected government. Prior to that, prior to 2013, it's never happened in Pakistan, because every time the political government coming into power, they were inheriting the rule or the governance from the authoritarian law, from the military or civil dictator leadership. So, from this point of view, you can see that it is definitely a very problematic situations when we look toward the 75 years history of Pakistan. The democracy and the political democracy in Pakistan is very minimal. The life of political governments and the political representative, the elective governments is very minimized. Like I said, the caliber of the politicians and capacity of politician is a very important role. When majority of the politicians in Pakistan, if you look toward the system, has a feudal background, has an industrialist background. The dynasty politics in Pakistan is not helping to strengthen the democracy in Pakistan as well. The democracy within the political parties and the absence of it, the democracy within the political parties is also a big problem in Pakistan. The Bradri system, the social setup system, the traditional customs, and when we move toward more in the rural and suburban areas where the population hasn't have a lot of resources for educations, health, food, shelter. They living under the influence of their customs and traditions and brotherly systems. The awareness about the vote and casting of the civil rights is not something which is missing there. And especially when we look toward the democracies, the modern democracies, and I can give you an example of Australia. Australian democracy come as the number 6 strong in its ranking when we talk about the democracies in the world. The system of democracy in Australia is pretty much the same like Pakistan political system. It's a representative democracy. People elect their representative and send them into the parliament on behalf of the local electorates and constituencies to participate in the formation of law for the betterment of the people and all these things. But I think in the combination of factors, authoritarian rules, administrative interference, lack of um, uh, sincerity from the bureaucracy, and the caliber and capacity of the politicians are the main reasons that democracy in Pakistan hasn't flourished. And especially when we look toward India, which got independence at the same time as Pakistan. Why the political system is much more stronger in India as compared to the Pakistan? The simple answer is this: the caliber of politicians and capacity might not be that great, but they don't have a feudalistic and industrialist political system over there. The political parties, at least, they don't have a dynasty politics there. There is a more rule of law there. I won't be commenting anything on the human rights and other platforms. But comparatively, when we look, most of the areas, the things are a little bit better. We can also look toward the example of Bangladesh, which actually succeeded from Pakistan in 1971 and 72 and came into its existence. Even the democratic system in Bangladesh is much more better, and we can see that there is not authoritarian rule or much interference from the civil bureaucracy or the military leaderships in the political system or the political government systems over there. So yes, in summarizing, the democracy hasn't flourished like these countries or even younger countries because capacity, caliber of politicians, the democracy within the political parties, the dynasty politics, interference from the administrations and the civil bureaucracy, lack of rule of law, problems with the human rights, freedom of speech. All these factors has a significant impact in the flourishment of democracy in Pakistan. Yes, Musa, over to you.
You're right, you're right. And this is a very deep analysis of Pakistani politics and democratic system. If you see, like, Europe is the one who will take the leads in terms of the democracy. There's a World Democracy Index, and if you see 2021 report, uh, Norway is the number one country in terms of democracy. So anyone want to understand, and after this, your neighborhood, New Zealand, is the second one in democracy. And we can see that the democracy is giving them very right results because the people reflection is actually people thoughts are reflected in their leaders. Can you imagine, like in America, for example, there is one party who's saying that say Donald Trump is our lifetime president. In UK, Boris Johnson is our lifetime president. We will give life for this leader. This leader, no matter he will do corruption, he will make money laundering, he will do property, he is assets beyond his means. But still, this leader is leader. So we need to tell as overseas Pakistanis to the Pakistanis living in Pakistan who has a voting right that this system where the grandfather give power to father, father give to the son is not a democratic system. This is some other system which is good for those countries where it is, but for our selves, the democracy means that we need to appoint a leader who is dynamic, who is innovative, who has a track record of honesty, fairness, prosperity. They don't have a personal interest to make asset outside the country, and these kind of thoughts, of course, is very much required for our Pakistani brothers and sisters to understand that what is actually the real democracy. And unfortunately, this shape of democracy is nowhere in our textbooks. We are not teaching properly to our kids that what is a real democracy. So my next question is, what are the main reasons that we have a very weak political system? And can you explain, like, a lot of people associate Pakistan as a hybrid democracy, means what does it mean and how the political system is crippled last several years? Your take on it.
Thank you, Musa. Thank you so much. Look, first of all, I would like to uh, enlighten some light on the hybrid democracy. What is hybrid democracy? Basically, when the transition of the power from the authoritarian law to the democratic elected government comes, that's where we can see that that's a form of hybrid democracy. And most of the powers and implementations of those powers, especially in the rule of law and in managing the government affairs, has been under the watchdog and monitoring of that authoritarian rule. And it's the controlling of the power from the by the authoritarian rules or administrative bodies of the country for the democratic elected government. So, yes, the democratic elected government is there, but they are still highly influenced in making their decisions, in performing their day to day functions, formations of the rules and laws in the parliament and the passing of the ordinance. Those are strictly or highly influenced by those authoritarian forces or those administrative forces, those who were active in participation during their authoritarian rule. So when we look toward historically toward Pakistan, why we say that in Pakistan there is a hybrid democracy? Because, like I said, since its existence of Pakistan in 1947, the first free, fair elections, which was probably could say in a proper way done in 1973, and after that, that democratic elected government was led by the political party, which was Pakistan's People Party, led by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who was a feudal lord at that time. I will come to that point after explaining by this of the hybrid democracy. It carried on up till 1979. So that 6-year period of time, after that, again, there was a military dictatorship leadership in the Pakistan. And prior to that, there was a military rule as well. And that military rule leads Pakistan governance up to 1988. In 1988, the daughter of the Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, which was, and she was re-elected through the transition of the power from that authoritarian government or military dictatorship into a politically elected government, democratic government in 1988. And that system leads up till 1999. And after another 11 years, again, the military leadership under the leadership of General Pervez Musharraf has came into power, and they ousted the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif at that time. And that system led up to 2007 or 2008. So that transitions of powers is a clear example that the democracy in Pakistan most of the time is always hybrid. There is a transitions of powers to democratically elected government. Like I said in the past, apart from 2013 and 2018, it's always the military leadership who was transferring the power to the civil elected government. And during that time, the influence of the administrative forces, military leaderships, and the civil bureaucracy is always there. Even the power has been shifted or transferred to the elected representative government. So that is something, an irony in the political system of Pakistan. And that has led to the weak political system in Pakistan, because out of 75 years of its independence, if you look toward the breakdown, the political system in Pakistan as a democratic elected government political system is not more than 32 years. Rest of the time, Pakistan is always and always under the military dictatorship, under the military rule, under the administrative rules by the technocrat governments, and that has its own impact. Now, coming to your point, the dynasty politics in Pakistan, that's another problem. The political parties, if you look toward the democratic history of Pakistan, Pakistan has always been led by the two major political parties. Pakistan People's Party, which was founded by the Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and he was a feudal lord. And most of his politicians and associated alliance politicians were having the same and the similar background, especially when we look toward the interior Sindh and not northern province of Punjab. Most of the political allies of the Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, still even today, they have are feudal lords, and they have dynasty politics within their own family political systems. Like the son is coming after its succeeding its father, and their next generation is succeeding their previous generations as well. There is a lack of democracy within that political party as well. Put in this way, after Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, the party was led by his daughter Benazir Bhutto, and once when she passed away, the political party is led by his son Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. So there wasn't any election held to nominate or to elect someone else on the political merit, on the merit of work and participation in the government or in the process of democracy in Pakistan. The power simply transferred towards the family next here. And if you look toward the second biggest political party in Pakistan, which is Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, The same family dynastic politics is there. Sharifs is the main component of that political party, and that political party was came into its existence by Nawaz Sharif, who was three-time elected Prime Minister of Pakistan and ousted from power in 2017. He is the son of one of the biggest industrialists back in his own days. And after him, now he is grooming his daughter to become the next Prime Minister of Pakistan. And when he was disqualified by the courts of Pakistan, his younger brother, Shehbaz Sharif, came into the power of the party, and he was elected as the party president, and now he is serving as a prime minister of Pakistan. Now, so in saying a hybrid democracy, I have explained why is there. There is always a transition of power from authoritarian rule towards democratic elected government, and the reason behind this political system, because those parties, those who were leading the political and democratic system in Pakistan, in spite of all these multiple transfer of authoritarian rules towards a democratic elected government, they don't have any democratic system within their own parties. Their own parties is lacking the democratic system. And the main reason behind this, the system of vote and the not proper rising of the middle class in Pakistan is one of the main reasons that people are not questioning their political parties, why this sort of system is there. And like I said in the answer of my first question, there is still a lot of problems in the rural and suburban parts of Pakistan, where there is a big brotherly caste and custom and tradition system is there. There's a plural rule of law where people actually follow their customs and traditions rather than the state rule of law. And that's where we can see the existence of the rule of law in Pakistan is very weak. The implementation of the rule of law is next to nothing. If we look toward the advanced and developed countries of the world, I can give you an example of Britain, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, how the democratic systems strengthen in these countries. The first thing they have done, they have actually educated their people. Their people have an understanding what is the importance of the right of vote. They have given the right of vote to the people, and then people have an education. They have got the understanding of selecting their own representatives from the local constituencies and then sending them into the parliament so that they can implement and make the rules and amend the laws according to their customs and traditions. And in Pakistan, the political system itself within the political parties is not of that great capacity and caliber. And that is one of the main reason that political parties is unable to produce the political leaderships of that caliber and capacity. The political leaderships is a lack of integrity. The political leaderships is a lack of moral accountability. And they know that the people, those who are in the electorates and giving their votes and giving them the opportunity to become the member of parliament and represent them in the parliament, doesn't have this ideology because they hasn't been educated. So it is a big problem. It is one of the main reason that the whole system in Pakistan is way behind. My understanding is this: the lot of things needs to be done within the political parties level, and a lot of things needs to be done for the capacity and caliber of the political leadership. A lot of things needs to be done by the politicians on their moral and on their accountability levels. and at the same time, lot of awareness factors for the citizens, for the civil societies, for the people, for the voters needs to be done to understand the importance of election, free and fair election, right of casting a vote, and selecting the representatives and sending into the parliaments to represent them. So when all these factors will get improved and all these things will happen, we can see some sort of improvement. And similarly, the transitions of the government and transition of the power from one politically elected government to another politically elected government is also only possible when the capacity and caliber of the politicians are with great strength. They are good enough to solve their problem within the parliament rather than knocking the door of the court of law, and rather than taking help from the civil bureaucracy and administrative forces to sort out their problems and issues. That is the only way we can improve the situation of this hybrid democracy in Pakistan and completely make it toward the formal representative elective democracy. Yes, Musa, over to you.
You are extremely right, and it's a very deep analysis about the history of Pakistani politics starting from 1947. We saw sometimes we become the victim of the non-democratic, Islamic democratic country has no democracy for half of its tenure of the life, independent life, and half the life that we have, they were the accessories of those authoritarians who actually was ruling from the back end. So there is a front end, there is a back end. Pakistan is struggling for a real democracy, and the democracy that has been taught to us is actually not the democracy that Western democracies has showed tremendous humanitarian progress to their countries. For example, in Norway, in New Zealand, in Europe, in UK, in USA, in Australia, the people are. There is nothing like this that there is a grandfather, there is a father, there is son-in-law, there is a daughter-in-law, there is a daughter, there is a son heading province and this province, that province, and the prime ministership. This is not democracy, dear brothers and sisters. You have to read about democracy, and no one will bring democracy to you. The democracy, you need to struggle and get it. This is how it works. Like European countries, French Revolution, British transformation for democracy, Washington DC transformation into a democratic country. These all are the examples for follow for Pakistanis who lives in Pakistan who has no idea about their democracy, and they whatever is being given to them they are relying on that, assuming this is a democracy. So, Imran, how you are looking to the future of Pakistan in terms of leadership structure, political system, and its democratic values?
Thank you, Musa. I think that is the main question of the of this topic today, because the future of democracy in Pakistan uh, has two sides, in my understanding. If I look, I think as per the current scenario and current situation, the future of democracy in Pakistan, and if we going to compare it from the recent few years, it actually weakens. The democracy in Pakistan hasn't strengthened much in the last few years. It actually deteriorates in its position. And if we find out what the main reasons why its actual situation deteriorates, because there is the main reason is the weakness of the rule of law, weakness of the freedom of speech and right of power, There is no legitimacy in the government in terms of exercising and practicing the power. Um, and the civil rights and liberties for the peoples is not that much clear over there. And if we look toward the other side of the picture as a optimist side, and we will say what we can see in the future of democracy in Pakistan, I can assume that if we work on those issues and factors, we will definitely have an opportunity to see a good future of democracy in Pakistan. First of all, we need to have a strong rule of law in Pakistan. The rule of law, the judicial system, and the legal system in Pakistan need to have a proper independence. The law needs to be equal for everyone. Those who are politically elected representative of the people in the parliament, either on the local government level to the federal parliament level, they all needs to have a sense of moral and political accountability. They need to be responsible and accountable for their decisions and for their actions. And at the same time, there's a much more awareness campaign needs to be done for the awareness of the masses and the people. They need to have a more uh, educated approach toward the importance of their vote, which they cast in general elections for the representations or for the electiveness of the political representatives. And that at the same time, they need to have an understanding, because if we look toward one of the survey was done by the New York Times back in 2007 and 8. It was an old survey, but according to that survey, 27 to 28% of the urban population and some near to 40% of the rural population in Pakistan still believe on the Baradari and the custom, local traditions and custom system. What is that? That Baradari systems will actually um, impose those communities and people to cast their vote to a particular political candidate. So that sort of practices is still there in Pakistan, which has a great impact on the political outcome, on the whole election process, on the whole democratic process of Pakistan. In my understanding, the awareness among the people needs to be on a much more significant level. They need to have an understanding that this is really important for their own country, which came into independence after the immense struggle by the founder of Pakistan, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, on the basis and on the grounds and on the footings that they need a separate independent country where they have their own rights to live in all, and they can practice their own life and religion as per their desires. And they need to learn the importance of their voting, casting of vote. And also, the political leaderships needs to show some sort of maturity, caliber, and quality. They need to come out of this stigma and their social and their custom and their family dynastic politics, because in going further, if you look toward the future of whole democracy in Pakistan, if they continue like this, they might not be able to make Pakistan a much more stronger democratic country, where they actually not having a democratic practices within their political parties, within their political system, where they actually inheriting the political power through the family dynastic system. In saying, the future has two outlooks. If we can improve from our weaknesses, if we cannot repeat those mistakes which we have done in the past, if we implement those policies and those ideas and those practices which we were lacking in the past, we can have a good future of democracy in Pakistan. And yes, we can take good examples from good advanced countries of the world. I can give you an example of Australia, where there is a same sort of representative elective democratic system. People elect their representative for the parliament at the state level and as well as the federal level. Those people representative will be the member of the parliaments. They perform their duty in under the accountable position for their local constituents. Not they have this sort of feeling that they are on the influential positions and on influential posts where they can actually mitigate the law for their own personal benefits and for their own personal gains. So they actually make laws and actually protect laws and actually do amendments for the betterment of the society, for the betterment of the voter, for the betterment of their life. They present policies and they implement those policies which will bring good change in the people's life. And that's where we need to see these sort of changes in Pakistan, where the political leadership start working uh, uh, toward the betterment for the life of the people of Pakistan. And that is only possible when they know they are accountable for their actions, they are answerable for their decisions, because when they will go back into the voting system, into the general elections, people will not vote them if they won't perform them, if they won't fulfill their promises, what they have made with their local constituents and their electorates. So that is the thing which needs to be, I think, leads toward the good future of democracy in Pakistan. Yes, Musa, over to you, please.
Oh, that's so deep and very, very informative. I want to thank you for joining us today and enlighten us about the democracy. And I guess that in my concluding remarks, I would like to say that democracy, the real form, no one will give you in the plate. You have to get it. Like the people in Europe, people in UK, people in United States has acquired from their efforts. People of Pakistan need to reject those parties who are exactly working on family politics. If you want to save Pakistan, not to be repeated an episode like Sri Lanka, where IMF loans defaulted, other debts defaulted, China loans defaulted, and one family over the period of time ruling make their own money and keep their assets outside the country. Their kids were studying abroad and coming to rule in the country. If you are doing the same in Pakistan, then you should learn from the experiences of your neighborhood countries. I mean, you need leaders who will build good hospitals so they can get treated in the Pakistan. You need people who will send their kids to their schools in Pakistan, whose life is in Pakistan, whose death is in Pakistan, whose everything, business, values, education, relatives, everything is in Pakistan. You have to choose those leaders who are based in Pakistan, not based in somewhere else. All the party decisions are in some other country where other countries can manipulate with your country future as well. These are very, very sensitive things. History will not forgive you, my brothers and sisters, if you will not bring change, as Ilama Muhammad Iqbal said, that we will change the history through our efforts. You cannot wait things to happen. You have to make things happen. With this, I want to wish you a great future of Pakistan, a great democracy, and a great governance system. So, where the overseas Pakistanis can up his head, meet with other nation that we are progressive, we are innovative, we are educated, we love our country, and we love the world. Our contributions are healthy for the world. Our knowledge, our expertise, we are peaceful, we are beneficiary. And with this, I want to thank you for joining us for today. And I'm looking forward to see you in our new episode with a new topic. Till then, take care of yourself and Allah Hafiz.